In the period between World War I and World War II, there were very strange and evil experiments. And these experiments were not on plants or animals, it was literally on humans. And one of these experiments was in Russia, which is one of the strangest and most difficult experiments. In 1940, at the highest of World War II, the Russians invented a gas that prevents people from sleeping. Yeah, you know that sleeping gas is used in operations and medical things, but in the other hand, there's a gas that literally prevents you from sleeping. So when Russians invented this gas, they say we need to taste this gas, man. And you know what? We gotta taste it on humans. And they decide to use this gas on humans because this gas could be very powerful weapon in the war. Because man, imagine giving your soldiers this gas, they will not sleep for 3 days or a week or something. This will simply make your army supernatural. And yeah, they choose 5 of the prisoners of war and offer them the freedom to do this experiment and not sleep for 30 days. Oh man, 30 days. It's very long time. So they bring the 5 prisoners into a fortified room, and the only way to see what's happening in this room was a glass windows and microphone inside the room. Because of course, man, we're talking about 1940, so of course there's no surveillance cameras. There was a toilet inside the room and some books and of course a food enough for them for a month. In the first 4 days, it was fine, the prisoners are in good shape and there's nothing strange. But at the 5th day, the prisoners began to get into a state of nervousness. Nobody wants to talk to anyone. But what happened? You are friends in the room, right? But what about the freedom? Only everyone sits alone and does not talk to anyone else. And they start whispering in the microphones and talking about completely random things. And the situation continued for a few days, but in the 9th day, one of the 5 prisoners starts screaming and running around the room. But he stopped after 3 hours. Imagine 3 hours of screaming. And the other prisoners in the room was just looked like no one of the prisoners get any reaction. And then scientists discovered that this person has literally cut his vocal cords. And from here, the madness began to happen. At the 10th day, the prisoners began cutting and smearing the box with their shit and they start sticking it on the windows. And the scientists cannot see anything and even the voice have stopped in the microphones. Sorry my friend about this shit, but that's what happened. At the 14th day, the scientists decided to do a simple experiment and told the prisoners from the speakers in the room that they will get in and the prisoners should lie down on the ground and anyone refuse this request, we will shoot him. And if you are cooperating with us, we will release one of you. But they did not respond to this and the surprise was that one of them whispering in the microphone and told them, we did not want to get out of here. But at the 15th day, the officials decide to enter the room and they actually stopped the gas. But they surprised when the prisoners begged to return the gas again to the room. They were begging so hard as if they were begging to keep them alive. But the soldiers got into the room and when they entered, the prisoners started screaming very hard. The soldiers were shocked by what they saw. The prisoners were alive but in very bad condition. The food they should have eaten in the past 5 days was untouched. And there were pieces of meat from their bodies literally lying on the ground. There were visible bones from their bodies and broken fingers. And when they did some tests, it was found that there is meat in their stomach. This means that they literally ate their meat. The prisoners was resisting the soldiers and screaming out loud, and their only request was to return the gas. And there were rumors that a soldier committed suicide because the view he saw in this room. One of the prisoners was bleeding heavily and the doctors tried to save him, but in the end, he did. And the other 4 prisoners were still screaming to bring the gas back again. And there was another prison whose condition was very bad, and there's organs out of his body and ribs and broken bones. The doctors also tried to save him, but he also did. As for the rest, the gas returned to them to see what would happen, but in the end, you know what happened very well. They all did. And for this picture, which some claim it was for one of the prisoners, but in fact, this photo is manipulated doll to look real, and these are real pictures of the doll. Some people think that this story is fictional, but the most likely that this story has already happened. And yeah, that's it. If you're still here, don't forget to like and subscribe and follow me on Instagram, okay? And see you in the next video. Goodbye.